Any genre can be light or dark, but what is best for you and your table? Does grim and gritty mean a game can't have splashes of humour? Does light and whimsical mean it can't also deal with bleakness or loss? In reverse order, the answers are no, no, and I don't know, but I'm going to help you work it out. Sometimes the best game for your table might be the one you haven't considered or assume wouldn't work. Stay to the end of the video and I'll give you my suggestions on how to go about discovering that. Sometimes we start game mastering with a firm stance on how we're going to do it. We are not going to descend into silliness this time. The action will not be derailed by endless puns again. The villains will be proper baddies, and there's no way the players will say, "Oh, well, she's got a point." Or, alternatively, we start this not intending it to be a horror game. It's going to be carefree and light, with NPCs to banter with. There'll be quips, there'll be witticisms. But 2 months later, and everyone's dreading opening the next door in case there's something lurking behind it that man was not meant to know the what of. If our players have signed up for a specific tone and we pivot away from that, it can mess with their expectations. That might not be a good thing, but it can decrease engagement and hasten the scheduling heat death of our games. I certainly used to have a typical tone based around my usual GMing toolbox. But when one of my players said that my games always ended up being horror games, I decided to sit down and work out why that happened, if I wanted it to happen, and what I could do about it. I've turned that ship around. Conversely, I've heard other GMs say that their villains always seem too reasonable and cuddly, and the players end up siding with their motivations. Can you design for a tone? And if you want to, what do you need to do? I have opinions. Step one really for all of this is some introspection. What sort of games are you running? What are they like? Do you even need to change? Talk to your players, talk to your previous players. It doesn't have to be questionnaires and on a scale of 1 to 5, but find out what about the tone of the games they liked and didn't like, and where they would want that to go that was different in another game. Don't necessarily try and change tone in the same campaign. Try changing to a different system. One of the things you can do is use a setting that has some of the tone baked in. A game of Mothership is going to be bleak and harsh. It's going to stress things being horrible. It has an entire fear system, whereas Impulse Drive, still science fiction, is a lot more cartoony. And obviously, games like Firefly can come in the middle. One of the things you can do as a game master is use consequences to set the tone. We are encouraged not to say, "you missed," as a simple default answer to a failed roll, but to instead move the narrative along. Something happens, but what? Well, in a more serious, horrific game, every stray shot imperils people further. In the space game example we're thinking of, it punctures an airline, it damages the shielding on the reactor, it hits the NPC you're trying to protect. In a whimsical game, your ammo is out. You drop your gun. You shoot the wasp's nest. You slip and fall. Think about the consequences and pitch them to the game you're running. In a Dungeon World game I ran a couple of years ago, everything was light-hearted and humorous, and all of the failed rolls were soft moves in general, until one evening when a failed roll investigating a house means the players found the NPC just after they died rather than just before. That was a very sharp pivot in tone, and we had to call for a break, and I had to seriously think about whether I was going to rewind and do that again. I didn't, but I'm still not sure I should have. pitch the consequences to the tone you want. So these are the tools that we can use. What consequences? What are the stakes? What are the NPCs like? Can we have meanwhiles and howevers? Can we split the party? If we want whimsy, think comedy of errors. If we want horror, think spiraling disaster. And stakes in stories don't have to be life and death. Having non-fatal setbacks when people fail rolls also makes them more likely to try the risky endeavours, to take chances. It can lead to much better roleplay. It might be that whimsy or grimdark doesn't suit you or your players, but if you're serving one up and they want the other, you can adjust the mix. I've done it, and it is a lot of fun to do so. And if your villains always come across as too sympathetic, make wilder, crazier villains. Don't give them reasonable motivations. Give them incredibly unreasonable ones. And if you want to find out if a game would actually be a good fit for your table that you assumed would not, watch this video next.